Why is circle area always pi r squared? Imagine trying to find out how much space is inside a round shape. It might seem tricky at first, but there is a simple way to do it. When you look at a circle, you see a perfect curve with all points the same distance from the center. That distance is called the radius. The bigger the radius, the larger the circle. Now, there is a special number called pi, which is about 3.14. Pi is important because it links the circle's boundary to its size. It tells us how the length around the circle compares to its width. The circumference, or the distance around the circle, is calculated as 2 times pi times the radius. That means if you double the radius, the boundary gets longer. But how do we figure out the space inside the circle? That's where the formula pi times the radius squared comes in. Think of slicing the circle into many tiny pieces, like slices of pizza. If you rearrange those slices, they could form a shape similar to a rectangle. The height of this rectangle is the radius, and the length is about half the circumference, which is pi times the radius. When you multiply these two, you get pi times the radius squared. This shows that the area of the circle is directly related to the radius squared and the constant pi. Another way to see this is by imagining the circle made up of many tiny triangles. Each triangle has a small base and a height equal to the radius. When you add up all these tiny triangle areas, the total still equals pi times the radius squared. The reason the formula uses squared units is because area measures space into dimensions. So, the area of a circle is always pi times the radius multiplied by itself, because that's how the shape's space relates to its size and boundary. Knowing this helps us in real life, whether we are designing circular gardens, calculating the space inside a round swimming pool, or figuring out how much material we need to make a round table. The connection between the radius, the boundary length, and pi makes the formula for the circle's area simple and reliable. That's why the area always comes out as pi times the radius squared.